These were the main messages.
We will leave written information for you in all the major languages of our time. Will you understand any of them? Can you read?
And that's of course a mind-boggling scenario. How do you communicate? We want to speak the same language, and we want to have the same symbols. I guess we have to find something very general.
This is where the cartoon comes in, where you have a low sophistication, but you have a robust message. This is an attempt to give you a feeling rather than give you a detailed message. Intuitively, you would expect people to react to something frightening better than to a detailed message. Forbidding blocks, a landscape of thorn, landscapes that would get you to feel that this is something which is wrong, this is something not inviting.
When you opened Onkalo, did you see landscapes of thorn? Did it make you hesitate? Or maybe curious? What drove you to enter? Was it the scars we left on the surface, or a rumor?
In the terms of emotional information, there was an interest in the picture of Edvard Munch, The Scream, to portray something that was negative. It shows the feeling of despair, and it's very clear to the observer that this is not something good.
But do you think this will be clear at all ages, at all times?
I think it has a fair chance, yes, I do.
It's universal?
I think it is universal for humans.
We are not sure how to overcome the problem of leaving markers to warn you. Messages from long-lost civilizations were found in our times, but it took us many years to understand the language and the signs. Some we still cannot read.
If it just puts something that is not completely understandable to the future people, then and they suddenly just they don't understand perhaps what it means, and then they just want to find out. People are curious. And if you put those markers there, it's not clear that they understand the point, that it's dangerous. And even if they understood, they still may want to know what it is. But then there's the philosophical point that some people think that it would be better to forget. Because then by chance it would be less likely that anybody would hit exactly the repository.
It has been discussed to let the facility...
Yes, I guess there are two schools here. Those who think that you have to leave markers, as they are usually called, on the ground. And those people who say that it would be better to walk away and forget about the site.
Do you actually think that leaving markers creates a higher risk of intrusion?
Well, I would say so, yes.
Personally, I don't see the situation severe if the site would be forgotten over time.
But how is it possible to create oblivion and forgetting? How is it possible to make a facility like Onkalo disappear from...
Well, you say it, it's not very easy.
When the burial chamber was complete, man laid his new fire to rest and tried to forget about it, for he knew that only through oblivion would he be free from it. But then he started to worry that his children might find the burial chamber and awaken the fire from its sleep. So he bade his children to tell their children and their children's children too, to remember forever, to consign the burial chamber to oblivion, to remember forever, to forget.
Some of the main principles included in legislation are firstly the limitation of burdens on future generations, so we should not impose undue burdens on future generations. Second principle is protection of future generations. That means that the safety level which should be afforded for future generations should not be lower than we are enjoying currently. And then third principle is that we should pass information about the repository to future generations.
Our law states that we must inform you about Onkalo. Maybe you will need to enter if we overlook something or if repairs are required. Were our calculations and assumptions accurate? Did we make mistakes? Is that why you are here? But the question about the knowledge transfer, what does the law say about that?
It doesn't say, I don't think it says anything yet.
Are you sure about that?
No.
It is required in law that assessment is made over this time, but it's not popular when many people react to it. They think it's too ambitious.
It requires that each generation will let's say, look that system is adequate. So
but the legislation says that that Stuk should pass on the information. It doesn't talk about generations.
Yeah. It says that it should deposit the information in a permanent manner. So.
In a permanent manner, that's the exact phrasing.
Yes, good.
What do you think they mean by that?
Yes, I think you should ask them. Because we've just talked about the problems of that. Permanent is too strong a word to be used here.
And what about the people who work with these things?
They get the scientific disease, so to say. It's all routine for them. They have a task.
But I don't really understand it, I think.
No, I don't think anybody does.
The responsibility is moved to the state after they have decided that this has been now done in an acceptable way.
So the Finnish state is responsible for passing on information into the future?
Yes.
Does that mean that when you deliver the information about the facility, then you deliver the information in a way that is comprehensible for all future generations to understand?
No, there is no requirement of making that comprehensible for all future generations. It depends that it's in Finnish.
We have no archives with information on nuclear waste yet. But if we build archives, every future society and every future generation must maintain the information and update the language for you to understand. Can we count on continuation for thousands of generations into the future? What if people starve and suffer? What if there are wars or floods or fires? The archives have the same requirements as our interim storages, requirements we cannot guarantee. After all, this is why we are building Onkalo.
The point is that the safety of the disposal and the repository is not dependent on these records.
But then why is this law needed?
I don't know, but the legislators, they have decided that the records shall be handed over to state, but it doesn't say more than that.
So the idea is that the archive of today should last for a certain period, but then be renewed by next generations.
Yes.